Press the bell icon on YouTube and don't miss another update.
Hi, we have with us Professor Rajiv Gowda, who is a Rajya Sabha MP and the convener of the Congress Manifesto Committee. Welcome, sir. The Congress launched its manifesto today, and Congress President Rahul Gandhi said that there are 5 key areas that we are going to focus on. So what are those 5 key areas?
Well, the very first would be the challenge of joblessness in the country. What are we doing to create jobs, to create employment, to create economic growth? That would be the central focus. Another very, very crucial issue for us is poverty that continues to be a challenge for the poorest citizens of India. And therefore, there we are responding with a very unique initiative called the Nyay program. We have another challenge with the Kisans of India and their challenges. And so we have a lot of work that we have planned for the agricultural sector. There are other issues related to you and me and every other citizen and the kind of education and healthcare that they can access. And we want to make public provision of education and healthcare a priority such that you and I will choose a public school or a public hospital as the first choice for our education, our children's education, and for our treatment. So these are some of the main ideas, and of course national security, internal security, these are also very, very prominent in our key agendas.
So under Nyay, which is a minimum income guarantee as it is being called, there will be 6,000 rupees per month that every household will get. Where will the money come from is one question that is being asked.
It will come from the resources that we have in our budget. It will cost, it's going to be rolled out in phases. So as we roll out, you will see that in the first year, maybe less than 1% of GDP will be allocated to that. By the end of the second year, maybe it will be less than 2% of GDP. And as we continue on these lines, you will see that there will be a multiplier impact on the ground because there will be more consumption and more economic growth. We have historically given this country, our country, double-digit growth, and we are confident that once we are back in office, we will, get the economy moving again. And when that happens, when there is more growth, you will see that the GDP size will grow, the tax revenues will grow, and the allocation to Nyay will be a smaller fraction going forward.
But what about the middle class? What will they get then?
Well, the middle classes will get excellent public services. Excellent public services in the context of education, of healthcare. We are going to create new jobs in every municipality and panchayat to ensure better public service delivery. See, you and I will not think of the government unless we are in some pain. We actually want to create a situation where the government does such a good job that you don't think about the government. Life is good and supportive and empowering, and you're able to go out there and do your thing without actually having to worry about the challenges of dealing with the government. And for those middle class and others, or anybody in India who wants to become an entrepreneur, who wants to set up a business, we are going to free them from governmental interference and regulation for 3 years. This is not just for startups in the high-tech sense. This is, you want to become a media entrepreneur, you want to set up a business, you will get a chance to do this without the burdensome regulations that currently stifle you.
The manifesto has also promised to do away with the sedition law, something which the BJP has already criticized Congress for, saying that it seems they have learnt all this from the Tukde gang.
The BJP has been misusing the sedition law. They have, even this particular mention that you make is based on doctored tapes, and they have not. That's the kind of law enforcement under this government. Who doctored those tapes? What happened to the people who were on it? Nothing, no action, just political use and misuse of not just the sedition law, but of fake news and doctored tapes. Now, think about what the sedition law, what its history is, where it came from. Right? It's a provision of the Indian Penal Code that was used against Mahatma Gandhi by the British. Right? It is aimed at people who wage war against India. Right? Now, there are other laws. There is the Defence of India Act. There is the Unlawful Activities Prevention Act. These are 2 very powerful laws that if anyone indulges in acts of war against India, they can be used to tackle them. And they must. These laws must be used to tackle anyone who who challenges the integrity and sovereignty of India. But the sedition law has been used and abused and misused over the years, right? You've seen families who have been attacked facing sedition charges against them. Journalists who speak up, question and criticize have had sedition charges levied against them, right? So basically, you have to think about whether this law has a role, whether it's more prone to misuse, what the problem and the challenge that it's supposed to tackle. Other laws can tackle even better. Let's get rid of it.
So media also figures in the manifesto. Could you elaborate on that?
Oh, we have a lot of concern for the media. We're very concerned that the media is living and operating in an atmosphere of fear, and we want to liberate you from that fear that you're suffering from. So we will work with you to ensure that media freedom comes alive again. We also want to make sure that media monopolies do not emerge and quelch the freedom of press.
Education is one major aspect, but I mean, I've gone through the education part. Apart from the fact that 6% of the GDP will be spent, I didn't find anything very radical or something very different that the Congress has offered.
Actually, you know, we have to elaborate much more, right? Now, what is that 6% going to be used for? How are we going to get a bigger bang for the buck? How are we going to measure and demonstrate that the outcomes that we got for that expenditure were much better, right? So we are going to also harness technology. We're going to help ensure that there's a level playing field across government schools everywhere. And we want to make sure that even at a mass level, you know, initiatives that the Congress brought in historically, like IGNOU, would be used as platforms to enable anyone to diversify their knowledge and training and learning. And so there are so many ways in which we can harness these resources, use them to have an impact far greater than we've been able to have before. And the most crucial impact will be in the assessment of learning outcomes.
Is there something on keeping a check on the high fee?
You know, once we make public education the preferred area, people will come to public facilities and the market will essentially work itself out.
And what exactly is the manifesto saying on strengthening the institutions?
Oh boy, institutions have suffered dramatically under this government. You name the institution and I'll give you the example of how it suffered. Okay, is it the CBI? We saw what happened to the director and deputy director fighting each other. You saw the government's interference. Have you ever seen judges coming out of, Supreme Court judges coming out and doing a press conference? No. You saw that under this government. Was the Central Information Commission effective? What about all those anti-corruption legislations? Didn't we see the RTI being weakened? Okay, so you name the institution, including the media. This government, the Modi Sarkar, has done the most damage to India's institutions, and that is something that we must repair urgently.
Congress President also mentioned that, you know, one of the things that he told you and Mr. Chidambaram is that I don't want anything which we will not be able to deliver. And there will be a monitoring of these promises too.
Yeah. So that is a promise that we made in the manifesto. We will have a social audit committee that will essentially measure and assess every year the progress that we have made on our manifesto promises.
The Bharatiya Janata Party has criticized the manifesto on several counts. I gave you an example of sedition. Apart from that, Nyay, where will the money come from? So they have said that these are just promises.
It's funny that the BJP, you know, even has this kind of a reaction about promises. I'm still waiting for the 15 lakhs. I'm still waiting for, you know, the 2 crore jobs a year. You know, Mr. Modi came to power on the back of a series of false promises. Mr. Amit Shah introduced the term Jumla to my vocabulary. Basically, these are the people who have thrived on false promises and on a disastrous record. The basic point is that they are running scared. They have seen that the people of India are disgusted with the track record of the BJP government over the last 5 years. They have seen that jobs have not been created. All that has been created are lynch mobs, the tension. Take the blood pressure of an average Indian, and I'll show you that it's gone up. Collectively, we're all much more tense and worried and there's so much hatred and violence in the air. That's the contribution of the BJP, dividing India and making everyone insecure, all right, while creating all these dramas of various kinds of promises and marketing gimmicks. Now, basically, this government is on its way out, and they're running scared. They are seeing already the kind of response that the Nyaya announcement has made in every village, in every nook and corner, in every slum, in every part of India. And essentially, this government has also realized that however much they try to cook up statistics and doctor data, they're not going to be able to convince people. That's why they try and focus on issues related to the border, because they don't have a track record to stand on. This government has been a disaster in every dimension. They're on their way